of No Narc November. Man, this month went by super fast. Dr. Leo is in the house once again, my awesome, amazing brother. Dr. Leo, you want to say what's up to the people today?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Glad to be back. Hopefully, in the midst of this panic, you guys were able to get some food in the grocery stores this week because I heard a rumor about everybody buying up all the food or at least the toilet tissue, but hopefully you
Yeah,
guys got some.
yeah, that's crazy. Like a whole nother situation. But yeah, hopefully, definitely, hopefully, everybody got what they need for the holiday, or just in general, everybody got to eat. Well, guys, Lady Wake. You may or may not know me yet. Lady Wake is my name, and it has the meaning of awakening ladies to ourselves, for the purpose of healing and transmutation. So we are here in the month of November talking about narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and codependency. And we have taken just a little time to break down narcissism and, in general, how they work, how it affects your life, how it affects your children's lives, and how we can begin the healing process, how we can break free from them and begin the healing process. Um, and this is mostly for your awareness because there's so much information out there. You can get talking about narcissism for literally months. But this is not for you to become an expert on narcissism, but for you to have a basic foundation of awareness so that you know how to protect yourself and your children and the people you love. All right. So today, brah, for our last show of the month, I want to touch on something that is a little controversial, depending on what community you're involved in. But I think it is important enough to mention it. And that is the idea of twin flames and soulmates. You look like you got something to say already. Go ahead, spit it out. I can't hear you, Joe.
Yeah, because I muted myself.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to hear the definition of this twin flames.
Ah, well, in general, the twin journey is the idea that there is somebody else out there who is a perfect match to you. They're your perfect opposite. And when you two come together, you come together to teach each other something. And you go through this journey of button heads and then like being together, super close, super like love bombing type of connection, like just you're everything. And then something happens, one person becomes the chaser and the other person becomes the runner. So somebody is running from commitment, somebody's chasing that person. And then at some point, if the chaser stops running and minds their own business, takes care of themselves, then the runner will turn around and start chasing who used to be the chaser. And they kind of go through this back and forth, really odd dynamic. But the idea is eventually you both learn what is important to you. You learn what's important in a relationship. And since you have this cosmic connection, then you always come back to each other. It's kind of, and it mirrors the idea of soulmates, except most people don't talk about soulmates in that way, but they talk about twin flames like this is just a necessary journey you have to go on when you have a person who they're half, so to speak. And you already know how I feel about this other half mess. But to me, when I rehash the twin flame journey in my mind, it sounds so much like a narcissistic relationship. It's like the push and pull, the back and forth, the love bombing, and then the discarding, and the chasing and the running, and then the chasing and running the other way. It sounds like a narcissistic relationship to me, narcissist and a codependent, and I think it causes problems.
Well, on this journey, such as the one you described, there will definitely be a lot in between that is unspoken, as in a lot of other relationships, a lot of hurt, uh, pain, a lot of, insulting each other and doing things that you can't necessarily take back or compensate
Mhm.
for. And I think that's what makes up this relationship that we tend to get caught up into. And as you said, a lot of people figure it's necessary for them to go through these things to get to where they want to be. I can definitely see where the problems will come from for sure.
Yeah. And that's what I want to point out today, because it doesn't really matter whether you believe in it or not. What matters is that you know the difference between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy relationship. That's what matters. And the thing I have started to see, as I've talked about narcissism for a few years now, and as people pour in their experiences and their ideas around it, and I watch people head forth with each other, and what I see is too many people have this grand idea about relationships, like there's supposed to be this other person out there who is my perfect person and they complete me. And I think there are enough people who have gotten away from the idea that somebody else needs to complete them. So then we've come into this extreme self-care environment where it's all about self. It's about self-awareness and self-care and independence and being a complete self, a whole self before you go and have a relationship. And I think both are on both are extremes. It's like you're on either side of an extreme. Is either you're completely looking for somebody else to take care of you and or you're saying I don't know. I can become a whole person and be take care of myself fully, and then I can go and have the perfect relationship. And I think both are faulty. And when we are looking for that other person, that's when we fall into narcissistic relationships very easily, because a narcissist is always with the story of you might be my soulmate, but we are probably twin flames. And that's why this relationship is so hard. But if you stick in there as they keep manipulating you, if you stick in here, as they keep lying, if you stick in here with me, though, as they keep playing games and cheating and dipping out randomly, discarding you, and then back. But if you stick in here, though, because we are twin flames, this is where you're supposed to be. Like, where you gonna go? Where you going? You belong here. That idea is so entrenched in the narcissistic community and codependence, people who are in these type of relationships, and they believe it. They really believe it. And it's disheartening because there is no good way to help a person understand if they're not already kind of on that path. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't go from needing somebody to complete you to being a self everything person. I'm self made. I'm self this. Like there has to be a middle ground. We're human beings. Interdependence is everything. We literally count on each other to live and thrive. So I think the problem is finding the middle ground for a lot of people who fall into narcissistic relationships. What are your thoughts? I'm sipping wine
Well, well, like you said, it's about recognizing what's healthy and what's not healthy, uh, first of all, and what's good for you and what's not good for you. I mean, what I notice is that a lot of times we have instincts, as I call it, intuition that you call it, where we see signs, we see red flags in the very beginning. But see, all we want to hear is what we want to tell ourselves. We don't want to recognize what's right there in front of us, the signs that this is not going to be good for you. And this type of personality, the narcissist, uh, this is a chameleon, so to speak. This is a person who watches the behavior of people and they mimic that behavior to get closer to you and to get what they want from you. And it's only time that will tell you that this person is nothing like their representative that they send to you. And this is where we get caught up in what you're talking about, even the soulmate thing, where you get convinced that, hey, this is my soulmate, this is my life partner. And the reality is, you don't even know who this is that you're dealing with. Um, and the notion that, no, we don't need anyone. Well, I mean, sociology disproves that. This is the life we live in where there are communities and sub communities, and that's how we get along. I mean, we're all basically animals on a very basic level. And I mean, we have to start recognizing our actual needs and telling ourselves the truth so we can start to heal and attract better energy to ourselves.
Yeah, man. Hence why the people call you Dr. Leo. Here we go. Look, I'm glad you brought up the idea of recognizing your needs because that was the next thing I wanted to talk about. Um, this author's name, Gary Chapman, and the 5 love languages. So a lot of people got into that, right? Some years ago, really got into the 5 love languages. You see people sending out the link all the time. Take the test. It's fun. It's cute. Your love languages. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a great tool. And it's good to know how you love, how you like to be loved. Way I find that people are using tools that can be really great and helpful and manipulating other people or lying to themselves about their needs being met. So it's like if my love language is physical touch, and this is a really my love language is physical, one of my higher ones, physical touch. And my partner at the time, who is a narcissist, would literally not have sex with me because he wanted to punish me in that way. He knew that was my love language. And so, and not that he couldn't touch me in other ways, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't touch me at all. Not a hug, not be intimate at all. And that was his way of punishing me for whatever he thought I did wrong. And at the time, of course, I didn't realize it, but I remember going, I know these are my love languages. And he's not meeting any of them right now. He wasn't meeting any of them last month. I doubt, it'll change in the future, but there was still a part of me saying, maybe there is just something wrong with him in terms of his intimacy. Maybe this is just something we need to work on. You know what I mean? Maybe we need to counseling. Maybe we need to figure out a way to help him be more open and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it was horrible. Just self-deprecating, just convincing of this clear, very clear jab to the throat. Like, no, I know this is what you need and I'm deliberately not going to give it to you. It was very clear. Now, in hindsight, of course, it was very clear. But at the time, I remember just making excuses and trying to figure out another way to make it work. I just kept going, there has to be something different. There has to be another answer. There's something else we can do. And not making him take responsibility. Because we never, when we're in the codependent position, we never make the narcissist take responsibility. And of course, the narcissist never takes responsibility anyway. So if you try to make a narcissist take responsibility, it just makes it worse and it blows up faster than not, right? But don't make them take responsibility. It takes forever for you to really realize that they're a narcissist. But it starts, are you getting your needs met? Yes or no?
And that's really the key when you talk about even self care, because I'm a firm believer that when you yourself are not happy, you're in no position to give happiness or to project happiness, to other people or to the world, because you don't have it in you. And I'm glad you brought up responsibility and the fact that people try to hold against you what they know that you need or what they know that you require or that you want from them. Uh, that is definitely a strategic thing. And one thing I've learned for this type of person is that sometimes we have to ask questions. We have to ask ourselves questions and we have to ask them questions. Well, that's my favorite method, at least. Um, and you have to assess the situation and find out for yourself, what am I really getting here? Because a lot of times, because we want to tell ourselves what we want to hear, we're going to overvalue what somebody actually brings to us, right? Because sometimes you just don't want to be alone, or you're lazy, you don't want to get back in the dating game, or, you know, you can't stop thinking about the good parts of this person, even if the bad might be, as heavy as the good, or even may outweigh the good. You're going to keep reminding yourself of what, the good part is. And, that's one thing I like to ask. I had this type of person I interacted with before, and they were at the point where, uh, they were on their way out the door, for good. And they stopped and said, you're going to miss what I do for you. And I said, what do you do? And there was
Good
crickets. And
question.
like, exactly. And this is what we have to do. We have to assess, what is someone really doing for us, because this type of relationship dynamic, you're usually the one getting drained of all your energy. And when you look around, you're likely the person who's doing all the work and you're doing all the heavy lifting, and you're not receiving in turn what you came for. And therefore, there's no reason to be there. What do you think?
So simply put, therefore, there's no reason to be there. That's real. You're always the one getting drained if you're dealing with a narcissist. Like they they're energy vampires. We went through that very clearly. They're energy vampires, so they always win, so to speak. They always, get their supply if you are still with them, unless you disconnect. And you know what? I was, as you were talking, just about the good outweighing the bad, or the bad outweighing the good. Sometimes we focus so on the good aspects of a person, and like you said, discount those negative aspects, which might be much more severe. And earlier I was talking to a friend, and I was telling her how I was a runaway bride, because every time I got close, I felt so suffocated, like I can't do it. It's not for me. And I told her this one time, it was like everything was good on paper. We matched up. You know how when you're young, kind of retarded, not literally, y'all, but I was, I was a little extra, and I had my list of things I wanted, in a partner, and I was doing the most, and I was like, he matches all of these things. Like, all these things are on the list. We're compatible. But I told her earlier, but I was like, he matched everything on the list except the important things that I hadn't put on the list because I hadn't thought about them. So it was the really important, like, can I even talk to this person? Do we want the same things in life? It seemed like we did because on the list, it matched up. But it's like, there was no passion. There was no real connection. It was bored to death. I mean, besides the fact that he was a narcissist. So you're so right when you say, like, people really. And I remember, and I told her this, so I remember being in my 20s and going, they keep saying there's an 80-20 rule and you can't have everything you want, in a mate, and you have to, you just have to give up some things and get them somewhere else or whatever. And I remember that just being my thought process at that point, because it was like, I'm tired of this whole game. I can't have everything I want, so I'm going to have to settle for this. And Lord, I mean, God shined on me when I finally realized that I don't have to settle for anything. But it took going through that type of, traumatic experience with a narcissist to realize my settling was trying me over and over again, and ultimately would be my demise if I didn't quit that BS. Who we got here? Do narcissists know and believe they're narcissists? Own or accept that? No, no. I mean, I've heard a story or two about a narcissist who, end up trying to recover, and they knew they were a narcissist. But as a general rule of thumb, no. Narcissists do not know that they're narcissists. They don't believe in that. They think that they're right in whatever they do. So the things they believe about you are correct. Everything that they say is your fault is your fault. When things go wrong, and they find somebody to blame, it's always somebody else's fault. They never take responsibility because they don't believe it's their fault. It's not because they're trying to, just dodge responsibility and they're feeling guilty about it. They don't feel guilty. They don't feel empathy. They don't think it's their fault. In their mind, they have a whole different world in which everybody is out to get them, or everybody is doing that, especially if you're their close partner or family member. Whoever their supply is, that person is definitely messing over them on a regular basis in their mind. That person who's giving them everything is, in their mind, playing games with them, talking bad about them, putting them down, saying negative things. Because if you tell a narcissist that they're doing something wrong or they hurt your feelings, maybe, then as you putting them down. You're trying to make them feel bad about themselves. And they're very serious about this. In their minds, they're like 5-year-old children. Like, they seriously don't know the difference between what they're saying and doing. No, I should say between reality and what's in their mind, the world in their mind. Leo?
That was a good question by Sonia. And what people might find pretty funny is, I think a lot of times this narcissist person will actually think that you're the narcissist. And it's unbelievable. I'm not lying. They think that you are the person that they are. It's like, if you don't do what I want you to do, then you hate my guts and you think I'm ugly. It's just like, it's automatic. You don't love me. Uh, Something's wrong with you.
Yep.
Because you keep questioning what I bring to you and this relationship. Something's wrong with you because you keep demanding your requirements of this relationship, or something's wrong with you because you keep challenging my behavior. I mean, this is definitely a delusional type of person, but they really mean it. They really feel the way. It's like, have you ever had somebody, you know, dusty, musty, and crusty try to say something crazy about you, and you're just looking at them like, what? Like, who are you talking to?
Like, do you own a shower?
Right. Like, you really trying to roast right now? You trying to cook?
Right. Yeah.
And this is how you got to deal with that narcissist. Like you said, it's
Yeah.
like dealing with a child. Sometimes you just have to let them believe whatever
Yeah.
it is, believe. but they're definitely not worth your time though. Just like you would, disregard, this child acting crazy. Well, this is a grown child acting crazy.
Yes, man, and they're definitely not worth your time. I'm so happy you put that out. What happens is when you're in the codependent situation or the victim, space with a narcissist, a lot of times their victims think that they can help them. It's like, I can help this person see, I can help this person understand because you're logical. You're probably an adult, you're logical, you're thinking, if you only see that they made this promise and they broke it and that's why my feelings were hurt, like that is 1 + 1 = 2, right? But they don't see it. They just don't. Like Leo said, sometimes they think you're the narcissist. You're the person manipulating them and they are the victim. They're always the victim in their mind. And so, and they don't always present as the victim outwardly because they want to feel like they want other people to think they're in a position. But inside, they're children, they're victims. So a lot of times their supply will try to help them. They'll try to save the narcissist. And it's always a bad idea because that's when people start doing that back and forth. Like they'll get free from the narcissist, you know, cut them off, go gray or whatever, and start to live their own life, start to get some life back into them. And when you do that, the narcissist, usually the person did break free on their own. Usually the narcissist put them out. The narcissist discarded them, whatever. So, but when they see you start to be vibrant again and get your life going, then they come back and they want you again. And they might not say that outright, but they'll just kind of pop up like, what happened with us? And, try to get you back. And then when they get you back, they do the same exact thing. It's the same game. They do the push and pull, feel like crap, they drain all your energy, and then they discard you again. So it's not worth it. I think it's the bottom line. It's not worth your time or energy to try to work with a narcissist. They don't change. And they don't care. They have no empathy. They don't care. I don't care how many fake tears fall down their face. They do not care.
Listen,
Yeah.
that's why I always say don't save them because they don't want to be saved. You know what I mean? Uh, the crazy thing is, that's absolutely spot on.
Yep.
It's like when you're a good person or you are a person who feel like you live in abundance, you have a lot to give. You have a lot of good energy to give, to share with people. And this is, a passion for some people. And you can see the potential, in some people and some individual people. And, you want the best for them, and sometimes you're gonna take a bump and you want to give them some new shoes and a new outfit and get their hair done and give them a haircut, get them a shave or something and straighten them up, but you never would imagine that they want to remain a bum.
Right.
And this is real life, um, where people are very comfortable with who they are. And this type of person always sees everyone else as the problem and never themselves. So for them, there's nothing to save. There's nothing to clean up. There's nothing to improve on because
Right.
they've already got it figured out, and you're the one with the problem. So don't save them.
You're the one with the problem. I guarantee you that's how they feel. You're the one with the problem. You're the problem. Always. Joe. I love that. You never imagine they really still want to be a bum. That's real.
It's true. They go for friends and family as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. I love that. I love that. Thank you for that. Since this is the end of the month, like this is the last Tuesday in the month, I want to sure that you all have a basic idea or understanding of how to be free from the narcissist. So it doesn't matter what type of relationship you're in with them, whether it's, romantic or a family member, a parent, spouse, kid, it doesn't matter, friend. There are certain things you can do to build your immunity to the narcissist. We already talked about leaving, either if you're discarded or if you leave on your own, but doing the gray rock method, meaning no contact whatsoever if you can help it. If you have to, like you have kids together or something, then making sure that contact is very minimal and we're not emotional. Um, but also, I want you all to know that there's a certain level of just, I call it kind of like the Kanye shrug. Like you got to be like, whatever. You have to know how to say whatever to the narcissist because their antics like run the gamut. They'll never run out of, always find a way to bother you. And so you have to be able to be removed emotionally. And that's the type of thing that works for people who they, quote unquote, are immune to narcissists. Immunity is a big word. But there's a balancing act because you can't be a psychopath like a narcissist. You can't completely remove your emotions if you're not a narcissist. That's not your role, right? You can't do that. So you can't beat them at their game. I heard one expert say, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but he said like they're the pig in their playpen, and if you go to the pig's playpen, you're gonna get muddy. Like is their field, they're gonna win, right? So you can't get on their level. So don't try. It doesn't matter how much you argue, how mean you think you are, you cannot get on their level because they literally spend every minute of every day thinking about how to get you down, how to get your energy, or how to make you pay for offending them in whatever way they think you did. Okay? So don't try to be like them. Don't try to fight with them. It doesn't work. But also, you can't take everything personal either. Moved. You can't take much personal, I should say, because everything they do feels personal. They find the most intimate ways to destroy you. And if you're taking it personal, what they say, what they do, even if they discard you, if you're taking those, then they're succeeding in breaking you down and really stealing the essence of who you are. That's what you don't want. You have to find a middle ground so that you are removed from them emotionally, but you can be a loving and open person to the healthy relationships you have, your family, friends, romantic relationships, whatever. You want to be there emotionally, but you want to be removed from the narcissist. Middle ground is, to do, but it takes some practice. And once you've got it, you're golden. Like you're free. You're free when you can find that balance. Leo, like you got something to say?
No, it just goes back to what we mentioned previously, and the fact that we have to learn to choose ourselves. Because, like I said earlier, we have to start asking those questions, ask our questions to ourselves and to this narcissist who want to live off of us as a parasite. Um, what do they really do for you? What are you really getting out of this type of arrangement, out of this relationship? Because once you start asking the questions, then the answers are going to start appearing. And you have to also watch this type of person's reaction when you're asking genuine questions, because once these people get on the defensive and you notice that that's their response to the hard stuff, the hard questions, then you know that they have something to hide. You know that there's something they're trying to get away from. And that's when it gets deflected and the finger points back to you. Well, you have to realize you're not going to be able to function in a healthy manner with this type of person, because anybody you can't have an honest, open conversation with, about something that concerns you, or about the direction of your relationship, or about things that were questionable, then things will not going to change for you.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And something in me is telling something in me is saying give a caution. So this is what I'm feeling right now. Yes, I talk to the others. You're like, listen, be careful if you are dealing with people who are like well known, like public figures, or maybe they're a pastor or something like that, because these kind of people take you to kind of the idea of what love. So they'll go, well, if you love somebody, you shouldn't worry about giving. I mean, getting. It's about giving. It's about how much you can give of yourself. You know, that's my preacher voice. And they'll take you through this whole of, I don't even know what to call it. I don't know. It's irritating, but they'll take you through this journey of you're the problem because you're not loving, you're not giving of yourself, you're expecting something in return. This is transactional, and love should not be transactional. And it's true that love shouldn't be transactional, but it doesn't have to be transactional if you're two regular people who have feelings and emotions and needs, and you're trying to meet each other's needs. Because when you like somebody, when you love somebody, you do try to meet their needs. So make sure that you're not being talked out of who you really are, or talked into giving even more of yourself when your cup is filled. Okay, there's a difference between filling your own cup because that's your responsibility, receiving and having your needs met in a relationship, because that's what relationships are for. That's why we interact with each other. That's why we're interdependent, because we meet each other's needs. Okay. So just be careful in that balance act. Okay. Don't let nobody talk you out of your draws. Okay. That's my say. I hope that makes
Yeah, that's very key information, and it goes back to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, when this type of person makes you question your own self, question your sanity, question the sincerity of your needs, of what you're seeing, and hey, take those basic signs. You know what I mean? You have a partner, every time you come around, they're hiding their phone. Take the sign. We bury a lot of things in the back of our heads when we can't get the answers that we want. And, it's always going to come back to the forefront later. And we try to overlook it. It bothers you. Something doesn't feel right, but this narcissist refuses to answer your questions, with a straight answer. Listen, the signs are there, right? Like the saying goes, when the person tells you who they are, believe them, you
right.
know. And this is the type of energy we need to have, uh, because, you're not stupid. You're an intelligent human being. But sometimes when we put our feelings over the facts, we get in trouble.
That's so real. And believe that you are very intelligent and you're vibrant and you're freaking awesome. That's why they chose you in the first place, because they want that for themselves. They wish they could be even a small percentage of who you are. Life. So know that. And, there is a part of that narcissist codependent, relationship where there is one person, usually the codependent person or the victim in the relationship, has just these feelings and ideas and memories that are borderline obsessive. Like you're obsessed with this narcissist because the the love part feels so intense, even though it's not real, but it feels seriously intense. And then when they push you away, that pain is intense. And then they pull you back, and then it's intense again. And remember, we talked about intermittent reinforcement. That push pull dynamic creates addiction. So if you are obsessing over this person, even though you know they're no good for you, but you're obsessing and obsessing over this person, know that you did to this narcissistic relationship. And that's good to know because that means you can do something about it. That means you can set new boundaries for yourself. You can set even tighter ones. You can get somebody who will be kind of your buddy to keep you on track, to make sure you call them instead of the narcissist when you're thinking about them too hard. Or when the narcissist reaches out to you again, because they usually do, you have somebody else to say, hey, he's back or she's back, and let's roast them real quick because that's always more fun, right? You need accountability. You need strong boundaries. You need something else in place of that narcissist. So that doesn't mean another relationship. That just means something else to focus on. Instead of focusing on that person, focus on work, focus on a new project, focus on your children. If you have children, oh my God, that is the big why I can think of for you to heal yourself from a narcissistic relationship, from trauma, from codependency, because your kids stand a huge chance of having the same experiences you've had just because you've had them. That trauma is in your body, is in your genes, and so it's in your children's genes. So if you have children and you've experienced this type of relationship, heal. Start now. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Start right now. You deserve it, obviously, but usually we do more for other people than we do for ourselves. Definitely our children. If you need to make your children your why, do that. It works. Believe me, it works. I just want to encourage you to do something for yourself if you're having this experience. Leo.
Well, I want to issue out a challenge to the people watching. So I think I would be fairly considered a loner. Uh, my sister could be somewhat similar to me. And one thing I've always admired is that you're able to do things by yourself physically. And a lot of people, they can't live without that real companionship, someone next to them all the time. But I think it is important for us to get out and do some things on your own. I don't, if it's enjoy a movie or go out, and grab some lunch or dinner by yourself and sit there and enjoy your own company. I want to challenge everyone to do this. Sometime this week, something that you normally wouldn't do out yourself. Yourself go out and do something. You know, and enjoy. Solitude, and we need space to think sometimes and sort things out. We get so caught up in our daily lives and the drama, and we get caught up with whoever's next to us that you never get to see yourself from the outside. You know, you never get to know what things you do enjoy or what you can be comfortable with because you never try it. And my point is that once again, you have to rather be alone for a while until you get things sorted out than live in pain, live in turmoil. It's not worth it. I challenge you really to do something for yourself and by yourself and get used to doing that every once in a while.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Leo. That's a great challenge, a really great challenge. It's important to be able to be with yourself and know yourself and love yourself and enjoy yourself. That is everything. You came into this world by yourself. You're going to go out by yourself too. That's real. It's so real. And I'm going to add one small thing on the tail end of that, and then we can wrap this up. But in addition to that challenge Dr. Leo just laid out, I would say start right now. It's Thanksgiving, and I know everybody's probably having a different type of Thanksgiving this year because of COVID. But if you have to be around somebody who is a narcissistic and who is a energy drainer in your life, who is a toxic person, whatever the case, if you have to be around someone you don't want to be around, I challenge you to leave. Leave. Click off the Zoom family conference, leave your parents' house, whatever your situation. Take a stand for yourself this holiday season and don't stand for that mess. Just once, just do how it feels. Probably going to be really conflicted. But if you start doing things for yourself like this, I guarantee you'll want to do more. You'll start to see yourself in a different light. Your strength will come back. Your knowing will get stronger. So you'll be able to listen to yourself more and more. And the bottom line is you deserve it. You deserve to be healthy and happy. And with a narcissist, you'll never be healthy or happy. It's not a thing. It's not a thing, y'all. But man, this has been so wonderful. Leo, thank you for joining me. Oh my God, I'm going to come back either tomorrow or maybe Friday and talk to you guys about what's next. Kind enough to join me. I'll be trying to steal him as much as I can. So we'll see, y'all. But I want to talk to you about the next series coming up because it's around relationships and we need it, okay? We need it deeply. We need it. So thank you so much for being here with us. It's truly been a pleasure. No Narc November. It's something that I have been passionate about, just getting the word out. So thank you for indulging me. Thank you, Dr. Leo, for being here, for being your cool, calm, collected self, and for your words of wisdom. You the ish, as usual, Joe. Thank you. Would you like to say anything?
And just thank everybody for joining us, for tuning in. Let's stay positive this week, whether we're with family, friends, or, by ourselves. Let's choose to be happy and choose to think about the good parts of our own lives and things that we are thankful for.
Yes, I love it so much. It's a choice.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. Until next time, peace and love.